Drive.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of North Plains City Council regular session meeting, Monday, May 20th, 2024, at 7:01. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mayor Linehan. Here. Councilor Page.
Here.
Councilor Kendall.
Here.
Councilor Payton.
Present.
Councilor Sheldon.
Present.
And Councilors Martinez and Councilor Smith are both excused this evening. Great. Thank you, Lori. Item 5 is our consent agenda. This is when we are going to approve this evening's agenda for May 20th. Also, we have the approval of May 6th City Council minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes that we need to be aware of? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve this.
All right, we have a first by Councilor Page, seconded by Councilor Kendall. Any discussion?
Point of order, the consent agenda is what we're approving, which encompasses the minutes and the regular session agenda.
Thank you. Did I-
No, I heard the motion as for the minutes.
Oh,
So just
Thank
have
you.
Councilor Page restate the motion.
I will amend my motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, thank you for that amendment. And we have a first and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. Item 6 is our public comment. This is the time where we wish folks in the audience or online to talk about or bring items to the council's awareness. These items are typically not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the hall that wishes to speak? Let the record show there are no one coming forward. Lori, have you had anything via email or online? Nothing prior to the meeting. All right, thank you very much. This evening is staff night report. This is the time when we get to hear from our team about what is happening. And first up is Robin, Library Director. Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Linehan and city councilors. I wanted to follow up on just some clarity requested in the budget committee meeting that I thought you all might be interested in. So I did take a little handout there that Lori's passing out, and that maybe seeing it in a flow chart might help illustrate sort of how the funds come from the county to our library. And then I also, in our IGA that we signed with the county, it does have the chart that has what allocations all the member libraries get. And I emailed that to Mayor Linehan. So if anyone would like to see all of the allocations, that's in our IGA, which is public. And then I sent that page to Mayor Linehan. Does anyone have any questions about that? You can kind of see that general fund transfer portion and the WCCS levy portion. Then via formula, you know, what is actually allocated to North Plains.
Yeah, excuse me, I had asked because there was conversation at a mayor meeting, and I do believe maybe it might have been a year or so ago, I think that you informed the council that North Plains is actually one of the lowest recipient.
We have the lowest allocation of the member libraries, yes.
Yeah. However, our numbers, as far as the data that you provide us, every month indicates that we are quite the robust,
We are the booming library, yes.
yeah,
In fact, despite my thoughts that our page count would go down with the construction, actually went up from last April, so I was kind of shocked to see that. Just with the access, like, with roads closed and so forth, it didn't keep people away.
Can you try that?
Mr. Sheldon?
I have a question, and maybe it's something we can take later, but it's, for me, stimulates a little bit of thought in terms of, okay, how is that allocation made? I'd like to see the formula. And when I run it out on my calculator, we're at like 7/100 of what that total slice of the pie is. So doesn't seem too fair to me. Sounds like maybe discussion with the county commission. And that can be something that's done later, but certainly bringing it to our attention, I think, it gets lost sometimes in the numbers. So I appreciate that.
And then just to a big announcement happened in the library on Friday to myself and Andy, and then to the rest of the staff, that Carol Aldrich has decided to retire. And so Carol, she had been thinking about it, and we did agree on a 2-week notice under her circumstances. And so the 31st will be our last day, May 31st. And I was able to get it into the newsletter that's going to go out in June with a nice photo, which will miss Carol. And she will be around until the 31st.
That will be a huge
She's
loss.
our longest employee, 14 years.
Yeah. And she's been, volunteer coordinator with the library, and really has spearheaded the volunteerism in the community centered around the library. And her infectious, attitude and smile was just amazing. So, so I really hope that we all take the time to come and visit before she leaves. And then hopefully we can also have a celebration too for her as well.
We already had people calling, asking when the party was, and like, she just announced it this morning. So we're like, we don't know yet. But
We might have to have it here.
Rest assured, there will be a celebration.
Good.
And that's really the biggest news this time of year. We're always gearing up for summer reading, very exciting. We have a program this Thursday in Justin Mesa. It's our second Oregon Humanities Grant program, where people are, this is a storyteller and a bunch of them live music about the Persian culture. So I hope you can attend that. The first one was really fun, or really informative and great, uplifting. And that, unless you have any questions about my report, I think that's all I was gonna highlight today.
Councilor Pittman, I'm gonna turn to you and see if you have any comments or questions for Robin.
No, I just want to say, Robin, I love the infographic, and I would just love to clone that across the city, because that is great. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
One question I did have, just about the teen council.
Oh, yes.
So I popped in the other day and everyone was actively painting pots and that sort of thing. And so it was really nice to visit with the kids briefly. They were to engage with me, and that's totally fine because they were into their project, which is important. But it started to make me think about how we can encourage more involvement from the teen council, like just within, within the city at events. Maybe here in this room on council night, that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's just something to think about, and maybe you have, and Brianna, it's on her to-do list as well. But I would like to see something that we can do to really try to embrace that and engage that a little bit more with the teams. So maybe we could find a way to do that.
I'll pass that on to Brianna. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any other comments or questions for Robert? Thank you, ma'am. All right. Chief Jones, you're up.
Mayor and City Council. In my staff report, just quickly going over some of the numbers. Our calls for service are 263 for the month of April, including public domain and self-initiated. No trends to really speak of, no recurring themes that we noticed in that call volume. Just a couple of highlights, or one real big highlight from this last month, which I think I shared the email earlier also, but some really strong work by our deputies here in town recently on the narcotics investigation. Led to some partnership with some federal agencies in the local county narcotics team to serve a warrant here locally at a known drug house in town. And it was very, very successful, and they're seeking federal prosecution. So I wanted to bring that to your attention again. I know it's shared in an email, but it's kind of a proud moment for us at NPPD. It was a lot of hard work putting that, and it's an ongoing investigation, and they're still working at it. So just to highlight a little bit of the good work that our guys are doing this month, is definitely noteworthy. Along those lines, you'll notice we talked briefly at the budget meeting, I think last week, if I got my dates right, that we're looking at increasing our FTE deputy-wise to a 2.0 FTE from a 1.75 FTE, which would give us essentially both deputies here every Wednesday of the week. They come on Wednesday schedule, and just working towards that incremental police coverage in the service level here at the city, which we covered in the budget meeting last week. So, between now and the fiscal year, the start of the fiscal year, the sheriff's office is agreed and honor that agreement looking forward and basically cover the cost between now and the start of the fiscal year to kind of bridge that gap for the city. The thing we mentioned last week, I want to touch base a little more and hear from the council if they're interested in the future work session, maybe this summer, in the next few months, exploring the option of bringing back the municipal court here to the city of North Plains and what that might look like. Whether it's a partnership with nearby banks who currently hold a municipal court, whether it's something we host here in North Plains, and kind of what that could offer us, kind of in some flexibility with our deputy scheduling, accessibility to a court, and just how that could serve our code enforcement needs and our traffic violation needs. Last week, to note, as I'm sure you're all aware, we celebrated National Police Week, so it was nice to honor those guys here working in the city. We had a nice lunch at City Hall on Wednesday for them, and a little something special for them every day of the week, which was fun to do. And then looking forward, this coming Friday, we're hosting the North Plains Elementary School's kindergarten class. They're going to do a walking field trip down to visit us at the police department and the fire department. They'll have kind of a show and tell with some fun stuff, a canine, a motor, a fire truck, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be wrangling about 47 kindergartners on Friday morning. So if you drive by, feel free to point and laugh at us.
What time?
Yeah.
What time?
It'll be a lot of fun.
No, seriously, what
Okay,
time?
really fun. About 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, I think they gotta get settled into class and maybe we can talk here for a little bit and then come down and visit us. So with that, I did include in my staff report, I wasn't here last month, but I heard there was asking for some crime map type availability. So what you kind of see on the second page of my report is just our first crack at some kind of crime map from the month of April. And really, it's only going to highlight kind of property crimes, traffic related incidents, that kind of stuff. And so it just gives you kind of a small snapshot of some of the activity, but it's going to kind of pare it down to specific stuff.
So criminal mischief, I see those are at parks, so pretty much tagging, I would say.
Yeah, generally, yep. That's what those two that you see on the map. That's what those were. With that, I can take questions then.
Councilor Payton?
No questions. Thank you.
Question.
Councilor Sheldon?
It might be more of a comment than a question, but I do like the call types. I do like to see the. I don't think I need to see a collective of all the calls, but when you have between one report and another, kind of a breakdown, I think that's good to see in the report. The other numbers make sense to me. And as far as your comment about visiting the the court, I think that's something that's fair game for consideration. But I think we need to think out all the opportunity cost of that, both in costs and in hours, which equate to cost, of course. So to see if it's even a feasible thing to do. And it might be that we can partner up with somebody and have some efficiencies or economies of scale to really drive down into, look at whether there's a cost benefit ratio of that. But I mean, I have to believe all of our fellow counselors will be as well, but that's a good pathway.
Thank you. We've started some labor, just kind of gathering some data and information that we kind of put together some information that's what we bring to a work session. That's looking at and kicking around and seeing something that might be.
Yeah, there's a lot of data we have, so, and we're just really great.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Dustin?
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I don't have a whole lot to report from the report that I already gave you, other than this week is National Public Works Week. So last week was the Police Week. This is Works Week. So I'm going to do something nice for the guys towards the end of the week. Normally we have kind of a touch a truck kind of event, but we're skipping that this year and probably going to do something a little bit closer to Ice Cream Social, where there's a little bit more people. Kind of see everything. Plus the guys are a little bit busy this week, so kind of give them something less to worry about than shining up some trucks. So with that, other news is there's going to be a water shutdown on Highland Court tomorrow between 313th and Glencoe, but that affects like the McDonald's and Chevron and everything. So it's going to be an early shutdown. So normally we don't do construction before 7 a.m., but it's going to be more of a 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. shutdown, just so we can kind of avoid some conflicts there. And everybody has been noticed, and I haven't received any complaints or anything since we noticed last week. One of the other things that's come to my attention is that I was going to start the AMI discussion later this fall for meters, the new meter reading technology, where we don't have to send out a meter reader to look at everything, or to shut down the meters with my own crew. One of the things that has come to my attention is that these meters are now getting harder to come by, and the stopping level is getting hard to keep up with. And so I have to meet with supplier to kind of see what our options are, and we might end up going to the AMI technology a little sooner than I was expecting, but I wanted to get a session with the council to kind of see what this was, what it entails, and the budget, the finance aspect. I'm trying to make it so it doesn't really affect our budget at all. And the only thing that I want to do with that really is all new meters that are paid by SDCs are covered by this fee for these new meters, as well as the replacements that we're doing. And I wasn't going to do the meter replacement program until after lead copper inventory was completed later this summer. So kind of might have to shift some things around because we're kind of low on supplies there. So we're working on that. Other than that, I'm open for any questions.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just curious, Justin, how much time is left on the water main and the paving? How much more time will go? Another month yet? For all the completion of the sidewalks and the water line and all the paving that goes with it?
For 313, the project should be done within the next month or two.
Oh, okay.
They do have a hard date, but they should be done pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
I would,
Councilor Page?
for shutdown tomorrow, it's be from 5 o'clock to 7 a.m.
Correct.
How confident are you that, what is the work? How confident are you that's going to be all those 2 hours that we protracted out? Longer.
From what I understand, McDonald's is going to be shut down, I think, until 9 a.m. And they've messaged their customers already. But the shutdown, a typical shutdown of this nature should only take about 45 minutes. So we were giving us a little bit of wiggle room. So they're gonna start at 5 AM. It should be done by 5:45 or so, if everything is going well. Sometimes things happen, so we extend it to 7 AM.
When we need it with the water, did you get less cloudy after that?
Everybody has been noticed, everyone who has been notified, has also been notified that they need to run their water for a little bit.
Councilor Phelan?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. I was just curious about the AMI feasibility on the new water meters. Kind of answered my question. Definitely would like to hear more about that. So when you are ready to bring that to us, maybe for a work session, that would be awesome.
Sounds great. I was hoping to wait until a little bit later this fall, but it looks like it might be a little bit sooner. So
Okay.
I'll be working on that.
Sounds great. So shall we? Thank you, Justin. Steve. And Lois.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. Steve Miller, planning manager. Not a whole lot to fit on, but I do have a couple things that didn't make it on to the report, so I'll take that for you as well. As you know, we do have an application in for a marijuana dispensary. And so we've been working on that application. So far, we've received one public comment on that, and it was a fairly general comment, just indicating that they did not believe it was a reasonable business for the neighborhood. That they didn't really elaborate on it more than that. They basically said they didn't support the approval of legalizing the marijuana, and that they just didn't feel it has done any good. So, pretty limited comment. I did receive a phone call today about the business deal, but again, just general questions that folks have. So, that's just moving along, and we'll have a staff report ready next week for the planning commission. The sign code amendments, we're doing the second reading tonight, as you know, so that's exciting to get that moving forward and done, so we can complete that. We're also continuing our conversation with Green Light Development, and we're working on putting together a pre-application meeting. I believe, from what I heard today, they'll be submitting that pre-application request this week. So we'll start to have an idea of what the site could look like. They will be providing you with a tentative site plan for that meeting, and the meeting will just be with myself and the city's contract engineer to just discuss the development of that site. They're also working with TBF&R independently, because they do not attend our pre-app meetings, and CWS. So they're working on getting their SPL letters prepared for their application. So that is moving forward. As I've noted, we would like to catch everybody up to speed on what this means and what Senate 8 means and so forth. So we're working on putting together a work session with you and the planning commission for your June 3rd meeting. So we will have the attorney Christine available to share a little bit of the history on how that came into play, and then answer any questions that you may have. To get you all ready for that, I shared with you the ORS implementing language that implements Senate Bill 8, so you'd have a chance to look that over and prepare any questions that you might have for Chris at that meeting. So that what I sent you is really the whole implementing code from the state statute for that particular Senate bill. Some miscellaneous stuff. As you may have heard, there's a new business coming to town in the Bull Tide complex, and the new building on the south end there called Splinter Alley, and it's going to be an axe throwing miniature golf type of indoor amusement area. So kind of interested to see what this looks like. Usually these are more in like a restaurant bar setting or something like that, not just kind of a standalone indoor amusement area. So kind of exciting to see what this will look like. To get ready for that, they've submitted their sign application, and we've approved that as of last week. So it should be coming sometime soon. A couple items that have not made it on here, and I want to bring it to your attention because I really appreciate Chief Jones's assistance in code enforcement. But we've been getting a lot of calls or requests from folks who live nearby or across the street from folks that have a large amount of automobiles, cars, other types of miscellaneous, for lack of a better term, junk or nuisances. The latest one we received was up off of, near the intersection of 309 and Claxton. The resident is getting ready to move. You may have seen a for sale sign go up on the north side of Claxton there towards 309, and there's the property across the street that he has a problem with because there's a car there that's leaking oil right now. There's other vehicles all around the property. It's just cluttered with a bunch of stuff. We run into that often over at 318 at Hillcrest. We have another one near Councilor Sheldon's property there at 309 in Claxton that has a large amount of automobile parts in their backyard. And so I think we're going to try and make an effort to help get these things cleaned up. So they're not an environmental hazard, and they're also not an eyesore for the folks that live nearby them. So you may hear something about that coming out. We're going to really try to do a little bit more with our code enforcement. We're going to create a form so people can fill that out. So they don't have, right now, people just come in and complain. And we kind of write it all down, you know, so we're going to try to formalize that process a little bit. We're going to get a web page set up for code enforcement with that fillable form on there so folks can fill that out. We're not going to have it set up so the folks who complain, we will have it set up so the folks who complain can remain anonymous. However, if somebody does put in a public records request, we would have to share that information with them. But we want to have it to be user friendly, if you will, where people are intimidated to share a concern with us, so we can look into it, which is why we'd like to have it be anonymous. But again, it's something that people could find out ultimately. So really excited about that. The other thing that we've done this week or within the last 10 days or so is we've worked on getting the planning commission handbook printed up. So we're going to print up enough copies that every planning commissioner will get a copy of the handbook, and then we'll have 15 additional copies. So as new planning commissioners come on, we'll have those available for them when they start. We're also printing up kind of a land use 101 document that was prepared at the state level that we also shared with the planning commission. And we'll have 15 copies of those printed up, so they're available for anybody to come and use. So hopefully folks can get more information about the Oregon Land Use Planning Program and how it operates and whatnot. So, you know, people will be coming into this arena more and more probably as a result of land use applications picking up in the future. And so the more we can educate them and help them understand the process, probably the better for everybody. So looking forward to getting all that information available and ready for the public to come in. And, you know, as they get used up, we'll continue to print more. So we always have them ready. But that's all I have for you tonight. And let me turn it over to Ron.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. I'm Marano, rare member of the Work City of North Plains. I don't have a ton of new news for you, but some really great key updates on existing projects. Last time around, I updated you on our accessory dwelling unit program. I'm pleased to tell you that now we have a live web page with informational resources for our residents and property owners on accessory dwelling units, ADUs, what they are, how you can get one, the regulations in North Plains on these types of buildings. A lot of great information on that page for our residents. And that's really phase one of a 3-phase program. Last time you heard that we had hit a bit of a blockade with the county and unsure where to go with the plan set that we had at that time. I'm pleased to tell you that on Thursday, we had a wonderfully productive meeting with Process Architecture, who is responsible for the Public Works building here in town. And they are looking into their options to help us move forward with amending that plan set and also developing what would be phase 3 of the ADU program, a plan library. So they're being a great resource to us and collaborative with us. And so we're really happy with the progress there. Another great collaboration, I've been working with Tualatin Valley Creates to put out a call for art. We received some funding from Washington County Cultural Coalition to do some public art, and we have put out a call for a digital mural that would be printed and posted on our new bus shelter at Marshall and 314. That'd be a great new colorful art piece on that shelter, add a little bit of pop next to the senior center and something that's really visible from Commercial Street. I think everyone's seen the downtown sign. That's been a point of pride in my service year. So more color coming.
Thank you.
And then last bit, Ice Cream Social is coming soon, Thursday, June 6th, from 5 to 8 p.m. We will have all the goodies, food trucks, ice cream, great live music, community organizations. Have to offer everybody getting together as a community and having a good time. So we hope to see you all there, and we're just gonna launch the summer.
You will take any questions that don't have.
Councilor Payton, I'm gonna start with you. Any questions for Steve or Rowan? They're good. All right, Councilor Page.
So for the green light, you kind of sit in the middle and went past it pretty quick. There's a lot of thought put into having this master plan and how we're gonna do that area. Just because I said, oh, send the lake, so we can sell it to do whatever we want. We have UGB coming up, we have those things planned out. The UGB will have what we need for the high density housing. So they just can't say, send the lake, tag, we're looking for anything to, allow this to happen. This is planned out. So, I guess this is not the time for it. But this work session, it's not like, yeah, well, they probably said delay and I have a PowerPoint, so there you go. It needs to be more than that.
It'll be more than that. And I think what you're seeing in Senate Bill 8 is that the state is saying that housing is the most important need in the state right now. And so even if you have a master plan, whether it's for an area like Brimhill, or you even have commercially zoned property within your city, if someone's coming forward with a affordable housing project, that in the state's mind, that trumps the other, right? And so they're saying that that supersedes the other use if somebody wants to bring forward this affordable housing.
But we have no court cases to say that, right? That's just, hey, well, we're treating it this way.
There is some law out there already, and there have been other jurisdictions that have implemented Senate Bill 8. I can share with you the Corvallis attorney's interpretation of Senate Bill 8 on a very similarly zoned piece of property in Corvallis that he agreed that it would apply to, and that that project went forward with the same company that's coming before you for this property out there in Brimhill. And they developed a project in a mixed-use commercial area in Corvallis, and Corvallis agreed that Senate Bill 8 would apply to that project since it was affordable housing, and they did not require any mixed use as part of that project. So I would like to give you a comprehensive overview of, why did this come about? What does it
Because they don't have
How does
the
it get
property
implemented? And then answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah. So that pretty much makes UGB planning moot. Pretty much do what you want to do and you want to do it. And, whatever you have planned, you just put in any high density housing and trump everything. So yeah, we need to discuss this further because the messaging is not right. And I don't think just because somebody's agreed to it doesn't mean that we need to.
Yeah, I understand the concern, but I think the main message I'm trying to share with the council is we're going to follow state law regardless, right? We have no choice. Whether we like it or not, we are kind of mandated to apply the rules that apply in these situations. And so I feel your frustration and I understand it, but I think we're not trying to clear the way for a developer. We're not trying to make life easier for them and have them do something that everybody else would like to see and say, no, don't do that. We're saying if the law applies and we are bound to apply it, we want to make sure we do it right. And
Yeah,
we
we
want to
have-
make sure that you understand it as well, so there's no confusion when this application comes forward. That's why we're trying to get out in front of this a little bit and bring the messaging to you and give you an opportunity to ask the questions that you would like clarification on, because I don't have all the answers. This is my first time, where I've had a project that I've had to implement Senate Bill 8. Senate Bill 8 comes off of House Bill 2001 too, the needed housing House Bill. And so as you've seen the housing prices rise up, you've seen the state respond to that and put different things in play that require jurisdictions to do certain things to try and address that emergency. And so, again, I appreciate your frustration and concern about not getting maybe what the city had envisioned out in that area. But I think nobody can deny that we are in a housing crisis, and affordable housing would probably be a wonderful project for North Plains even if it meant that we didn't have all the components that we wanted out there.
Sounds like you're all in for it. Thanks.
I'm not all in for it. Like I said, I'm all in for applying the rules that apply to the request and making sure that the city is not vulnerable to a lawsuit as a result of failing to do that.
Is it, isn't there, commercial, space on West Union in the Sunset Bridge?
There is, there's another affordable housing group that's looking at that property. They have not been quite as engaged with us as Green Light has. And they're not quite certain how they want to develop that property right now. But they have reached out to express that they have that property under some type of contract. I'm guessing it's some type of due diligence period that they're in right now to determine if they want to move forward with purchasing it. But they've only asked me two very general questions. And so I'm not quite sure where that one sits at the moment.
Councilor Sheldon?
Well, from where I sit, I think about the planning that went into the NC zone. And so this is going to be a pretty robust discussion because I don't think anybody's going to tell us exactly what to do. I think there could be compromise in there. As far as that goes, as far as Senate Bill 8 goes, I'm not so sure we're not exempt. Most of the regulations apply to housing under 10,000 is exempt from that. And to me, that piece of property is potentially in the geographic center of this city. So it would make sense to me to consider the component of mixed use and not solely housing. Everybody wants affordable housing. I'm not sure what that is, honestly. I think it's a bit of a mirage. I mean, we can subsidize housing. I guess that's one way to make it affordable.
That's what it will be.
Investment banks made the mess we're in, frankly, and I'm not going to get into too much of that tonight. But we're cleaning up after their mess, and I'm not real happy about that. Because they repealed the Glass-Steagall Act clear back in the 90s, which would have kept this from occurring, and it's occurring. That's why we have companies who run ads on the TV to buy your house for cash. And as far as this NC zone goes, that's the same thing that was set aside in Sunset Ridge as it has been in Bryn Hill. And it's not about giving anybody a pass, but we got to look at this hard because I'm not sure I buy everything they're selling, so to speak.
I just want to know, I'm not saying anything at all. I'm just trying to share the information that I have based on what I've learned in a short period of time about Senate Bill 8 and how it applies. And that's why I want to set up the work session with you all. So you can ask a person with more knowledge than myself about how it applies in this situation. I can assure you wholeheartedly, I have zero intentions of overriding the vision that people have for Sunset Ridge and Bryn Hill. And in terms of, you bring up a very good point, Councilor Sheldon, about maybe there's a way to compromise, right? If the developer wants to come forward with an affordable housing project that meets all the standards under Senate Bill 8, it really would be up to them, right? We could speak with them and ask them, would you consider this? Could you do something for us? How about, 4,000 square feet or 5,000 square feet? If they say no, and this would be a great question for the attorney, if they say they don't want to do that, they're not obligated to do that. What's that mean to the city? I mean, do we have to just fold and give them the affordable housing project that they're asking for? And 100% will be subsidized housing. They're working with the state and other funding sources to be able to construct the project, to provide it at 80% AMI or less for an extended period of time. So it qualifies under all the different check boxes that they would have to be able to be under Senate Bill 8. So that's what they're doing right now, is working with their attorney to make sure that their proposal would fit into that little box of Senate Bill 8. And so we're preparing for that, is what we're doing. And I'm also trying to prepare the planning commission and the city council for that potential as well by setting up the June 3rd work session. So everybody can get on the same page. Everybody can ask the questions that we need to ask and get a better understanding of how it applies to this particular situation.
Fair enough.
But
Okay.
there's nothing been predetermined by staff at all. We're just trying to make sure we understand how to apply the rules.
I see that there is a person in the audience, and she had her hand up, and then she has a question, and I'd like to be able to honor just a question from her. Is this question for the planner?
Yes.
All right,
I couldn't hear where this is that you're talking about, that someone's proposing. Is it in the proposed urban growth boundary, or is it in the city already?
So this is already in the Greenville development.
Steve, would you mind repeating her question so we can all hear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The question was, where is the property located? Is it in the, proposed UGB area or the current city limits? And I indicated that it's in the Brent Hill subdivision, and to help you a little bit more, it's at the corner of North and Main within the Brent Hill subdivision.
So it's within the current UGB.
Correct.
Explain, UGB area, yep.
City limits.
The city limits, thank you, yeah. Any other comments or questions for Steve at this point? Well, it sounds like the June 3rd meeting, work session is gonna be a very important one that we all need to attend and do some homework prior to, bring your questions so that we can really have a robust conversation about that.
And, going into that meeting, if you guys have questions, send them to me.
Sure.
And I will give them to Chris so he can prepare for it as well. So, the more you guys can get us ready to help you, the better. We want to make this as robust as possible and make sure that everybody has a good understanding of what's happening. I also know that the developer would like to come before you as well, before they even submit their application and share with you what they would like to do. So there's a lot of effort here being put in to try and get everybody in the know on what's happening, why it's happening, what they want to do, and maybe respond to some of your requests, Councilor Sheldon, about can we come up with a compromise here to try and, get a win-win for everybody, right? Get a little bit of what the city wants, get some affordable housing, and not lose everything out there in Brentwood. So.
I think it's gonna be really important that we do everything, or you can do everything that you can to have those folks here in the room with us, just to have a really good dialogue about this. If they can, that would be really helpful. I understand, situation, Zoom and all that sort of thing, but, we have a planning commission who's gone through a lot of work with that NC zone, and obviously we want to stay within our lane with the law, obviously, but it would be really helpful if we have everyone present in the room actually for the conversation. So hopefully they can be in person with us.
Yeah, I agree. I hope everybody can. Everybody's been put on notice that we will do this with the dates, and I think Lonnie right now is not available on that date,
Okay.
but everybody else, I believe, is, and everybody's received a copy of ORS 147.400 as well. So everybody has the information, and I will let the planning commission know tomorrow in an email that they can also send me questions in advance, so we can, get those answered appropriately.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do have one.
All right. Bill, finance.
Thank you, Mayor, good evening, Council. My staff report, a lot of it we talked about on last Wednesday at the budget committee, but I don't want to give anything short shrift at the same time. So we've had time to review. I don't have anything unusual. From month to month, nothing's really changed regarding the city's operating funds, the general fund, the streets fund, the water fund, and the Jesse Mays fund. All continue to kind of operate in terms of expense incurred versus budget, really pretty much like it's been the last number of months, and that is where most of the funds are really, except for Jesse Mays, are kind of, tracking expenditures at about 95, 93, somewhere around there, just below. Total budget for what those funds could have spent by now, after about 10 months of the current biennium. The Jesse Mays Fund continues to bring in, meager is the appropriate word, rental revenue. We did slow things down for rentals in the building because of operations issues and kind of rethinking the fees relative to the expenses. But outdoor pavilion rentals have kept up, and with warmer weather, folks are reserving for birthday parties and that sort of thing. So gorgeous new playground equipment right next to a covered pavilion. It's, you know, it's irresistible to families. So that's been a great thing for the community. So nothing huge to report in terms of the operating funds. What I did kind of want to draw your attention to were a couple of different things. We had a very modest increase in water account overdue, balances overdue during the month of April. I think it went up by $31 overall to just over $123 in overdue accounts 60 days and more, which is very modest. There was, for residential accounts, there was no change really from the one account that we have that's over 60 days overdue. That went from 60 to 90 days to over 90 days for about $150 overdue. So very modest, very overdue accounts in the water fund. Property tax revenue, it's worth pointing out that at this point through the end of April, the city is almost 11% year over year more property tax revenue for the general fund now than it was last fiscal year. We were very conservative with property tax revenue. We estimated would be coming in. I think we assumed about 5% growth year over year. But development has been faster, but we wanted to be conservative with that. So we're still on pace to bring in about $870,000 in property tax revenue for the general fund this year. That's compared to just about $780,000 last year. So growth up in Brim Hill and new homes and new taxpayers paying taxes for services, that's definitely been on the increase. The other thing that we wanted to kind of follow up on was last month in terms of local fuel tax revenue. We mentioned that one of the fuel stations that we have that pays fuel tax revenue monthly recorded a dramatic decrease in the revenue, in the tax revenue they paid. We did find out from them that they had some pump station repairs during the month of March. And I'm pleased to report that in the month of April, that fuel station is back up to its regular fuel tax payments. And it's actually up a bit compared to last year for the same month. So, you know, their marketing is clearly paying off, but they're back to normal. So that's just kind of wanted to clear that up, because I know we had, I think Councilor Kendall actually very, very specifically asked about that last month. The other thing I guess I would mention is just upcoming June is going to be a busy month for me on the finance side. We have no budget to adopt or mid-biennium, so there's nothing to hear and adopt. But we will bring the normal resolutions, other budget-related resolutions we bring to you, and that's the fee schedule for adoption. That will be in June, and we'll be working on that resolution for you, and then some tweaks to the fee schedule. And then the other thing we'll be bringing will be the standard resolutions that you will have to consider, and we would expect you to adopt just for the tax rate that is levied, the property tax rate. And then choosing to accept shared revenues from the state, those kind of formality resolutions you do every year. So those are coming up in June, and just to be on the lookout for that. And then outside of that, I stand for any questions you have.
Councilor Pincus? Councilor Page?
For the fuel tax, we're in year, this is a 5-year tax, and what year are we in now?
My understanding is it's permanent.
Permanent?
Yeah, it's permanent. We've pledged long-term that the fuel tax, the local fuel tax,
Okay.
we've pledged to pay for that bond for the transportation improvements we've been doing.
For over 20 years. Okay, I don't make sure I'm like, I don't make sure my thoughts are right.
That's good to clarify, and yeah, it's permanent, Councilor Page.
And are we we took out a pretty big bond there, and I used to cut a loan to do sidewalks. How are we doing on that? Are we meeting it, and are we fine there?
We are. We borrowed about $6 million.
Are we sure that fine?
Yep, we are. And I mean, you know, Andy and maybe Dustin can go into great detail about the projects, but we've city's gone through quite a few of them. I mean, it's obvious which ones are very much in progress right now, but we've put the money to good use.
Debt service isn't a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, to reiterate, that service is not a problem for the bond.
Any other questions? Counselor Sullivan?
Question I have is, you can eliminate, as far as I'm concerned, waterfront 210. I just don't think we need to be looking at those balances if they come up to an amount that you think is, essentially something we should be looking at, then I'm satisfied. I mean, certainly those numbers they're really low compared to where they've been. So any red flags we should know about, but I don't think we need to see that in every. I mean, if you want to keep providing it, that's fine, but I don't know that I really want to look at it for a few bucks here and there.
Councilor Sheldon, thank you. I'm more than happy to cut it. It's a quick report to run and summarize, but it's also appropriate time to give Bailey in our office credit for not only being on top of it, but honestly just amiably establishing good rapport with folks who have had overdue balance problems and working with them. So there's a lot there that she deserves credit for. So I just want to mention that as well. But I'm happy to cut that information.
Just give Bailey
I
kudos
accept the
instead.
information. I thought we already agreed to do that.
Thank you. All right, next up on our agenda, we have a public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 494, sign code text amendment. Does anyone need any clarification on that? Lori, any formalities that you need to follow? Okay. Then I believe you have sent motion in your packet.
I'll move the second reading of ordinance 494.
All right, we have a first by Councilor Sheldon, seconded by Councilor Page. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Hearing none, motion carried. Ordinance number 494 is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of North Plains, Oregon, implementing an amendment to the text of the zoning and development code regarding sign regulations. Now, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 494?
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance 494. Just approve, I think you should say adopt, right?
Adopt.
I move to adopt second reading of ordinance 494.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a first by Councilor Page, seconded by Councilor Kindle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Hearing none, motion carried. All right, thank you. Item number 9A is our resolution 2263, which is the City Council missions and goals statement. And I'll turn this over to Andy.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. This is a product of the work that the council and leadership staff did in mid-April when we met here for a day on a Sunday. I think is that Easter Sunday? No. Yes? It was pretty close. It was a Sunday regardless. But I think that was a good day of dialogue. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. And I think a lot of us here at staff kind of talked about the way this looks. I ran it by council to see if there was any wordsmithing or anything was out of place, got some feedback, and we incorporated that. I think at this point in time when the city is growing, becoming more diverse, obviously we're going to have to look at expanding services, service delivery. How do we pay for that? I think it's good to reflect what the council's values are, not only at this point in time, but moving forward into the future. And I think something like this can lead to a community visioning effort too, once we get through a lot of the urban growth boundary discussions that we're having. The last one that took place was 2015. So next year would be the 10-year mark of that. We're still working on some of the vision from 2015. So hopefully in 2025, there's some new things for the community to be talking about. And I think a statement like this, where the council kind of puts a stake in the ground about this is our mission, this is our purpose, these are the priorities and the goals that we have. as a body, and we want to communicate that to the community. I think that's a very important exercise. And so this is the result of that. Like it says in the staff report, this is a document that we would plan on kind of adding a few more elements to, and then framing it and putting it in buildings like this and at City Hall and the library, so that other folks in the community can see that what the council and our staff stands for.
Thank you, Andy. I think, that Sunday that we spent together, I think it really provided us with a great bonding moment, not just council, but with staff as well. We worked really well working through the goals and the vision. And I think the final report actually turned out really well. So I'm pretty proud of you all for being here and showing up, all the staff showing up as well and participating in that conversation. Any comments or questions for Andy at this point? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve resolution number 2263, adopting the operating mission, principles, and the goals of the City of North Plains leadership.
We'll say it.
All right, we have a first by Councilor Sheldon, seconded by Councilor Kendall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. All right, item 10 is unfinished business, nothing to report there. 11. Oh, excuse me, 9B, sorry, I just jumped right ahead, forgive me. So 9B is resolution 2264, which is the city manager recruitment. And so tonight is Andy Varner's last city manager evening with us. Well, with city manager report, his last day is until Friday. But the gentleman to his right is Rob Drake, and he is our interim city manager for the next 6 months. And if you haven't met Rob yet, please feel free to, chat with him. I think most of us have. Rob comes well prepared as a previous mayor to the city of Beaverton and the city manager for the city of Cornelius. And he's also been an interim city manager for other cities, Tillamook and Carlton. Yeah, okay. So we're lucky to have him on board to help steer the ship through the next 6 months so that we can find a replacement, a permanent city manager. So welcome, Rob, glad that you're here.
Thank you, Mayor Lanahan. And can you hear me all right? Yes. Okay, thank you. And council, I'm really glad to pause my retirement and spend the necessary time here in North Plains. I was on an interview panel when Andy was hired prior to that, and expressed my opinion about his candidacy. And frankly, I've not been disappointed. We've talked a lot. We've been at a lot of meetings together in the past, and I think he has served the city well. And I feel that there are many good things about North Plains, and I've had the pleasure of knowing some members of the council, including Butch Kendall Councilor Kendall, for I don't know how long. He and I have been wandering around the county for many years.
Then we meet here.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed it.
Well, nor would I, but I'm pleased to be here, and I'm impressed with the management staff and the entire team. So I look forward to this. I came here this morning with a lot of energy and a lot of interest, and you will get a good 6 months from me, that's for sure. So thank you.
All right.
And if I can say, Mayor, Andy, good luck to you. And I happen to still live in the city of Beaverton, and I've told Andy I'm gonna be watching him, that I pay his salary and he's gonna have to answer to me if he doesn't do a good job in Beaverton. But I know he will.
Thank you, Rob. Well, with that, we're gonna just dive right into the city manager recruitment resolution number 2264. Want to go ahead, and I know that Andy's done some great work with finding a consultant who will come on board with us. And so, Andy, would you like to take a few minutes and kind of run through that with us?
Sure. I was hoping you were going to skip this and then Rob could have just done it, but no, you circled back to it. We put out a call for proposals, and Rob has known many recruiters over the years, been in these circles. And we got 3 proposals back, and I've listed them here in the staff report. All 3 are well regarded. 2 are a little bit more local to the region. Ultimately, we went with GMP Consultants. That's comprised of a gentleman named, is it Gary Prothman? Oh, I forget what his first name. Anyway, Prothman. First name starts with a G. And Greg Prothman. Done a lot of recruitments, not only in Oregon, but in Washington County over the years too. And he's got a city manager that we're hoping would help tackle this one in his stable that Rob's known really well and worked with quite a bit. He was a former city manager of Cottage Grove until recently. My goal with a recruitment would really to have someone come in who can do this work, has a wide network, has done a lot of these, and can take the pressure off of staff so they can, Lori can do her city recorder thing, and Bill can do his finance thing, and Robin can lead the library, and Dustin can, do water stuff. They don't have to worry about it. They'll be working directly with Rob. Rob will be the guy taking the hits. You can take it. So it's a seamless transition. The way staff can do what they do and concentrate on frankly, all the things that's been talked about in the department reports tonight. There's a lot going on. They need to focus on that. And then Prothman can come in with their expertise and really run the recruitment and the search and work closely with Rob, and then work closely with the council too. In the schedule, there will be some meetings with the city council to determine what the position priorities will be, what the recruitment will look like. There'll be some work sessions, meetings with the council, meetings with staff and leadership team, probably a community survey or 2, meetings with stakeholders, really kind of rounding out what that's going to look like. One of the things about Prothman that some of the other recruitments couldn't do is they're able to start immediately. So we can kind of hit the ground running with them this week. And they have a pretty decent timeline to trying to do all this in about 4 months. If Rob is going to be here for 6 months, we kind of need to hit the ground running. So I think they kind of help check that box as well. So without further ado, I'd recommend moving forward with GMP Consultants. Greg and his team do a good job. And I think Rob knows a lot of those folks there, and they'll work well together to bring the city, hopefully a very strong contingent of candidates.
Councilor Payton, do you have any questions or comments on this? Okay.
No, just want to say welcome aboard, Rob.
Rest of the council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I got a couple.
Go.
I was through the entirety of that scope of work. I think is pretty comprehensive. So I really did like what I did see. And I think it probably shows, the depth and the breadth of what they can bring us. So, I'm pretty enthused that we can find some good folks and reel them in maybe. So I'm in support of it. And with that, I'll make a motion. I'll move to approve the adoption of resolution number 2264 to approve the agreement with GMP Contractors and performing the city manager executive recruitment.
All right, we have a first by Councilor Sheldon, seconded by Councilor Phage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. Jumping ahead to nothing for 10 for unfinished business and new business and city manager report. You know, Andy, your reports are extremely thorough and your Friday fives are very thorough, and I'm grateful that, you know, you were open to us critiquing you about the Friday Five and how you just jumped right in there and really made it your own. And it has been extremely valuable for communicating with the council, not just about what you do, but about what the rest of the staff does as well. So I do definitely want to give kudos to Councilor Sheldon for that suggestion, but you really did a great job.
You did.
Keeping us all informed on your Friday Fives, which is awesome. You know, I think his report is pretty succinct. Is there anything in your report that you'd like to share with us tonight that, you know, I'm gonna also ask the council just to kind of chime in and chat as
My
well.
report. Well, I will mention 2 orders of business that following up on last week, the budget committee meeting, which thank you everyone for being there. Steve sort of confirmed that it looks like if this land use application in June is approved by the planning commission, a marijuana retail business could probably start within a couple months thereafter. So if the city is considering a local tax ordinance, I think the time would be right to do that in November. The other thing is, you know, one of the things I wanted to do before I left is help kind of grease the skids, but having the dialogue with Joint Water Commission about our intergovernmental agreement for water supply, the Joint Water Commission, JWC. So I reached out to the water manager of Hillsborough last week, and that's who manages the partnership for JWC. Just let them know that the city, when we first entered into agreement with Joint Water Commission over 20 years ago, the city looked a lot different then than it does now. And we've seen a lot of growth along with the rest of the county. The council and the leadership would like to see moving towards having a more balanced tax base. And that's probably going to mean something different than when that original agreement was put in place. It was all about, oh, the population is going to grow 2% a year, and this is how much water you'll need. I don't think that's good enough. And I wanted to kind of put that out there in the ether that I think our leadership is going to be asking for a bit more. The water line we have from Hillsborough is very good. It's sufficient capacity for now, maybe not forever. It's not seismically resilient. There's one line of water supply to North Plains. It's 3 miles. A big earthquake would take that out. So we need to be exploring other options. And I think something like that needs to be identified in the discussions with the Joint Water Commission, the IGA. So on Friday, it was well received, but I think those discussions will just have to take place over the summer, and Rob and I and Bill and Dustin, we've all had these discussions about what that's going to look like kind of moving forward. IGA expires at the end of this year. There's automatic renewals. That's kind of a formality, but I think it's worth the city saying our leadership would like to see a little bit more with our water supply agreement. So just wanted to put that out there. You know, this being my last report, I don't know, is this the time for me to say a word? Well, first, you know, I want to thank all of you for making the choice back in 2017 and kind of taking a chance on a guy that was not the furthest from a known commodity and saying, well, what the hell, let's do it. And I hope I didn't let you down. That was it was a big move for me and my family. Frankly, taking my kids were born in Alaska. That's where my wife grew up. It was a big choice for us. And we made the right choice. And I'm so glad that we did. So I do want to thank you all for, again, taking a chance. And I hope we've accomplished a lot here. More than the council, I want to thank, Lori, Bill, Dustin, Robin, Steve, Nick, Rowan, everyone, the staff. I've learned a lot from them, probably more than they've ever learned from me. I mean, let's be real. I've learned a lot from them. I've tried to be supportive of them. everything we've kind of been working on and building towards, we've done as a team. I've been really pleased to see, the council and our staff kind of come together with a few of these retreats where we take up a weekend and just really talk about things that are important for the future of the community. I'll give you a little hint. I think we've come a ways. Lori found the binder from when I was hired, from 2017, and Rob was part of the interview panel. Yeah, a lot of scribbles in here from you, Rob. No, just kidding. But some of the goals, the 2017 goals from the council, it was a list. It was a list of things. But I want to just mention a few of the things in here. The council wanted to apply for more grants and look at other contract type options. Just in a couple minutes, I was putting together in my head, and I've seen over 12 million in grants. Just I was kind of able to tick off a few to bring to the community from federal, state, and county and regional grants. Focus on economic development, including a grocery store. We've tried to be relentlessly focused in that. There's some obstacles there, but that's something we're not going to give up on. Updating an emergency operations plan. We've done that. A focus on the urban renewal area. We've done that. Passing a gas tax. We've done that, which has led to the next thing, more sidewalks and making the city more walkable. A gas tax has been totally used to make the city more walkable, to connect neighborhoods downtown, to connect Sunset Ridge to downtown. Infrastructure planning. Well, we have a CIP. We have a 5-year CIP. We try to combine projects and dig once with water projects and street projects. New city webpage, renovations to the Jesse Mays building and the playground. We have AC, we have AV, we've got a bathroom, we've got parks. We've got new siding on this building. We'll soon start work on updating the kitchen in there. Rebranding the city, working on communications, city literature, website, logos. Water system upgrades. I think we've had a lot of help there with TVWD, but Dustin comes in with a lot of experience, and we're getting guys trained up and putting a lot of work into the water system, not only now, but what we just talked about in the future as well. Not listed here is probably the thing I'm most proud of, though, is just being able to bring in people. Every single person here, except for Lori, was hired in my time here, everyone there. And I think they've made great contributions to the city. That's not to diminish Lori, as Rob knows, Lori runs the city. So we found that out. So I want to thank you all for being here and making the city a great place. Rob's going to bring a lot of stability here. He's a great pick for doing that. Rob's been a mentor to me since I've started. And I think he'll do a great job of spreading the word and bringing some, making sure everyone else continues to do what they do and things stay afloat, and Rob can work with the council in finding a replacement. I'll try to do my part on that and spread the word. I'll be a big booster. I won't be a stranger to North Plains. I mean, there's still ribbon cuttings that are going to happen. I will come back for those. I'll be in the background, but just I want to see when the Public Works building opens, when a grocery store opens. I may even come back and throw an axe or something. I haven't done that before, so do an axe throwing. When I kind of broke this news, people were asking, "Oh God, what happened?" And I said, no, it wasn't, I didn't get fired. The council didn't want me out, and I didn't want to leave because of the council. That's kind of that's a luxury in this business when you can leave and you're on good terms with your council, and I hope we are. On the contrary, I couldn't have asked for a more supportive city council. You're a great group of people that I work with and I work for. Mayor, I can't look you in the eye right now because I think we'd both tear up, but I just want to thank you personally. I think we've worked well together as a team. When I started, you were the only woman mayor in the county at the time. You were a trendsetter. Look how far we've come. There's several others now, but thank you for being an ally. I've truly enjoyed. You're the best mayor I've ever worked for. I've worked for 4. I guess the last thing I'll say is I think, looking back at this, 2017, I was the right guy at the right time, but nothing lasts forever. I was probably a good little bridge to the next thing, the next great things that are going to happen in North Plains. the city can find someone better and take the city to new heights. I really believe that. I can't wait to see where things go. So just thank you, council, all the boards and commissions. If anyone's out there listening, it doesn't look like anyone is, but tell them thank you. And to all the staff that I get to work with every day, you've all been wonderful, and I'll miss you all.
All right, that's a hard act to follow. But, you know, Andy, I really appreciate your leadership and your friendship. We've come a long way in this short amount of time that you've been with us. And as you just listed off all of the items that we've accomplished, all the boxes we checked in a way, it's remarkable how you came into town and hit the ground running. And I know for a fact that you were drinking from a fire hose for months and months and months, but you had grace about all of it, and you were calm and steady. And there were moments when, you know, I even was kind of freaking out a little bit, and you still sort of brought me down, and you're like, let's talk this through, let's walk this through, let's do that sort of thing. And I think that I really appreciate the communication piece that you brought to the team, to the council, to the rest of the commissions and the boards. We've accomplished a lot, and I know that we're going to continue to move forward and accomplish even greater things. But I think I just want to say thank you so much for being there and helping, you know, get us back on a right track on after, you know, years and years and years. I really appreciate you helping us get back onto a right track to where that we can be focused and cohesive, where, you know, we talk to each other, we're friends with each other, we agree to disagree, but I really feel like there's a general sense of consensus, not just with the council, but other boards and commissions, and especially the staff. So I can't thank you enough, and I'm grateful to know you and to work with you, and to know your family. So I wish you all the best. Anyone else?
Now, Andy's done a phenomenal job. I haven't had any specials with St. Matthews, so he's kind of like the template that we're going to follow. So thank you for setting a high bar. Also, just want to put out there, no poaching. You hired us for your end, they say, right?
No poaching. Anyone else?
Well, I think I've said quite a few things to Andy in just the last 2 or 3 weeks, because, you know, I can almost unequivocally say that he's the best city manager this city's ever seen. And arguably could be. We don't know that. We hope to bring a good candidate, and I think we will, but somebody who has integrity about the process, someone who is willing to take on a number of challenges. That's not always an easy thing to do. And sometimes you get in a quagmire. That happens as well. And you get caught between the council and the administration. And there's been plenty of messes, and there's plenty of examples around our state that have no cohesiveness. So, you know, I'm thankful for that. The leadership, certainly the list. I mean, we have knocked out a bunch of things, and that's partly because he's driven. And so I appreciate that, you know, the aspect of seeing the goal and getting the objective in focus and knocking some of those things out. I think as the mayor stated, unquestionably, we've accomplished a great deal. We become more sophisticated when we should be more sophisticated. And we're growing up, we're maturing as a city. So I think the timing, yeah, the timing was right. You're the right guy at the right time. And there's almost no question in my mind about that at all. So I think as far as your contributions, I think you do have a legacy you leave. It is going to be, as Councilor Fage has mentioned, it's a bit of a template because we have an idea of, you know, what we can have. And you've taken some places that otherwise I don't think we would have gone. And that's saying something. The communication piece, yeah, without a doubt. We're dependent upon communication, not the minutia, but we need to understand what's going on. And sometimes as a board, we're sometimes the last ones to know. So the gateway into that, the window into what's going on, the inner workings, understanding dynamics, those are all important things that we have to reflect on when we look at an organization. So I think you've done an excellent job of that. You're just a train passing through the station to the next one. That's the way I look at it. I didn't expect Andy to be here maybe as long as he has been, because when you're ambitious and when you're young, you're looking for progression and progressively moving through rank. And that's how you elevate yourself into not just more authority, but you build and maintain relationships along the way. So for me, I'm speaking from myself. I think it's been the right time that our city needed someone like you to get us to where we are today. So we can only hope we can get somebody who has that same commitment and drive and passion for what's going on. And I think your emoting is just, to me, it exemplifies that spirit. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Andy, I haven't had a lot of interaction with you, for the buddies they got here, they take care of that. And I've been, wish could have had more time with you, but you were doing a good job and hey, things have been good. I just know that where you're going is going to be, you're going to do really well. You really are. I mean, they said all the good stuff that I can't top that. The only thing I would say to you is, just that when I first heard about that, I walked over, told you, I said, after this time, I'm just beginning to like you. They leave. So that's how it is. I know you do well at what you're gonna accomplish and where you're going. So they're lucky to have you going forward. Thank you.
Again, this is a tough act to follow. Andy, I just want to say truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I can only imagine how many hours you put into our city and the investment you've made in our city, and it shows. And even when times get tough, you are still there and you are so resilient. And I can't even imagine the thick skin you must have, truly. So I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for the city, for our council. I know I'm still going to see you out and about in the community at an event for our kiddos, I'm sure. But I do hope to see you on a CDBG meeting soon and wish you all the best of luck.
Before we close for the evening, I guess I better just ask, are there any council reports we need to be aware of?
Last Saturday, went to the Family Justice Center fundraiser. There's a lot of people there, there's senators, there's a there are a lot of elected officials there, and that's nice to see. I asked for a quick count of how much they raised, and it's something like $280,000. And those are some nice things to go to. It's a pretty good fundraiser, and there's a lot of people there. This is one of the events where there's just a lot of people, and it's just great to go out and see some elected officials, showing up and spending their own money. for something like this. So, yeah, so that's nice.
I attended the Washington County Coordinating Committee meeting today, and it's always a little heavy on the metro side. But DLCD was there presenting the housing needs analysis for the state. They're going to be putting together their report, and the Metro is putting together their urban growth report, which will be, I think the date is June 28th. So that will come out, there'll be public comment on those documents. So that's something that you might want to, you can either look at the Washington County Coordinating Committee website at the county site. If you can't find it, let me know and I can get a link to you and send that to you. But they are looking at the region with a focus obviously on Metro. But the city of Banks and North Plains are a part of the Washington County Coordinating Committee, and the mayor of Banks and myself, we were both there today asking questions like how, you know, their numbers, how we affect their numbers and how we're a part of that conversation. And so there was some good dialogue. I know that we will be having more conversation at our June WCCC meeting on the same topic. And then we also discussed the MSTIP program. The MSTIP program is a county program. It was actually, the county has a deficit, and so there was this conversation with the MSTIP program where they they took about $2.5 billion from the MSTIP program, and they want to put it in there to make their, you know, general fund a little bit more whole. So the WCCC, and most of them are mayors, we were not real happy that the county took that direction. They took money from WCCLS as well. And they're putting, you know, because they just have a deficit in their general fund. I do know that they did receive about $15 million in SIP money. And so our argument was, why don't you use that money to pay your debt instead of taking money from MSTIP and taking money from WCCLS? So I have a sense that the mayors will kind of be putting together a bit of a letter to send to the Board of County Commissioners. I also know that the county commissioners, let's see, Catherine Harrington was on the call, Commissioner Willie was on the call, and then Commissioner Fye is part of the WCCC crew. And I know that Commissioner Fye is more in line with the mayors and how we feel about that MSTIP program. But three of the county commissioners are, you know, voting for the budget and voting for the reduction in these other programs. So there was some contention going on today at the meeting, and I suspect that there's going to be more conversation with the organization, with the county commissioners and the mayors in the coming months about that. So I'll try to bring another update next month just to let you know kind of where it stands. But if you're interested, certainly there's a recording of the event. It should be on the county website probably in the next day or two. But if you need additional information on that, let me know, and I'm happy to share whatever I can via email. But so that was a fun meeting today. So
Question, was the county commission, was it unanimous, what they want to do?
3-2. So
Really? Oh,
yeah,
so it is.
yeah. So they want to. So it was Commissioner Rogers and Commissioner Fye voted against it,
Oh.
and Commissioner Willie, Treese, and Harrington want to move forward with it. So it's not been finalized yet, but yeah, that's kind of where it stands.
Could you say what MSTIP stands for? What does MSTIP stand for?
It's the
Major streets, transportation,
transportation
improvement
Thank you,
projects.
project.
It's a county general fund money that funds street projects regionally. Yeah.
And it was actually voted, it was approved by the voters. So it was a program approved by the voters. And so you know, several mayors had made a comment, and I think Mayor Callaway was on the record saying that, you know, this is the voter approved funding, and this might not be a good optic. So it was, again, pretty contentious. And we're not real thrilled about the way, the direction that they're, you know, they're taking the money away from, cities who could use those findings for transportation and, you know, some land use. It's really been a great opportunity for smaller cities, especially smaller cities, you know, that could use, you know, extra funding for projects in their communities. And a lot of us, even North Plains, is, you know, benefited. So it's a pretty important program. And we just don't want to see that if they just take, you know, 2.5 this year, what's to say they won't take 2.5 next year and the year after that. And so this is something to keep your eye on. And if you do have any comments, you're certainly welcome to provide that to the county. Okay. Yeah. So anything else? Councilor Page?
I totally forgot about the parks meeting. That's on Monday. It's a pretty quick meeting. There was the whatever staffing or we need the kitchen over here in Dixie Days, and there's some Purple Park discussion. They were saying it is the Pacific Purple Dog Park. That's it. Why do we still call it purple? You need to make a motion to not call it purple anymore, just leave purple out of it. So yeah, they're like, yeah, let's not say purple. Like, well, you guys have an opportunity to say Pacific Purple Puppy Park, you know, you can do it that way. But they're gonna go with Pacific Dog Park.
Okay. So I remember years and years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, Councilor Kindle, but I want to say it was about 15 years ago. I think it might have been at a chili cook-off where we were having a name the park kind of moment. And we had posters up here and people would go around and put their little stickers on what they liked and what they didn't like or whatnot. And I think it was kids, actually teenagers and children, who actually named it Purple Park.
Pacific Purple Puppy Park.
I'm just telling that's what I remember to be the history of why it was named Purple.
The thought was that it's a great tradition to call it Purple Park, and then people know it's no longer a park for kids to play in. It's actually not a park.
Okay.
So that was what that was. It could be fun to do that, to name the park that with some information.
All right, any other reports from council? Nope. All right, well then I will go ahead and adjourn us at 8:33. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.